I'm handsome, I'm fast, I'm pretty, and can't possibly be beat.
High fly ball into right field. She is gone.
They might be going to call George Brett out.
Well, he's out.
Yes, sir.
Brett is out. Look at this. Brett is out.
He's steaming mad.
He is out.
Swung, fly ball deep left center. Grissom on the run. Yes! The Atlanta Braves have given you a championship.
Auburn going after it. Here's a good snap. It is blocked. It is blocked. It's caught on the run. It's caught on the run. He's going to score. David Wagner has scored. And Auburn is tied the game.
It's good! It's good!
It's good.
It's good!
It's good.
It's good!
Van Tiffin has won the ball game.
Alabama has beaten Auburn!
I'd like for the people to remember me as being a winner, because I ain't never been nothing but a winner.
All right, and welcome in once again to the Total Chad Sports Podcast. We're at 109 on the list. Crazy to think that we're even this far. We keep saying that every single time we get into every single podcast because really there's been times where I just say, I mean, is it worth it? Is it really something that I should continue to do? Is it something that people out there are enjoying? Is it a podcast for everybody? Are really people paying attention and watching and doing all this other things? No, we're not watching centers. We're watching the podcast. As Atomic Jen likes to chime in right at the beginning of the podcast. Thank you for being here, buddy. Great movie, though, by the way. We can sit here and probably do a whole 20, 30 minutes on centers. But we're not going to do that right now. We're going to do about an hour and a half, hour 45 of straight sports talk. Try not to go the full 2 hours. I know sometimes it can be a little much for some people. I know some people just can't sit there and watch for an hour and a half or an hour and 45 minutes. But if you do have the time, put it on the big screen, put it on your phone, do some cleaning, do some laundry. While you're at work, put it on low. Like people have radios in their work and they listen to music. And as long as you're not blasting it, you could probably enjoy the Total Chad Sports Podcast in your office setting or at home or wherever while you're doing a little things around the house, doing work, whatever. But just have it on 15, 20 minutes out of the day. Give the views, give the watch time, do all those types of things. Help us out in some sort of fashion. That is the Total Chad Sports Podcast. But another way to help us out is to follow us on all social media platforms. You can follow us on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Straight Flexing. You can hit us up at TikTok, Facebooks. You can always hit us up, guathnychad@gmail.com if you'd like to say anything in an email and say, hey, would you like to talk about this next time? But remember, there's also a live chat as well. So there is a live chat, but you can go to X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. You can find my SEC predictions for the 2025 season. You can also see everything that's going on around the Atlanta Braves, as I think it's 6-0 as I'm speaking. Giants over the Braves right now because Spencer Strider gave up a home run. Then Dylan Dodd, who just got reinstated, brought back to Atlanta, gave up like a 3-run shot. Devers has hit 2 home runs in this game. So it's not been fun for me to sit here and watch what's going on in the world of baseball. I'm just sick of the Atlanta Braves right now. So we're not even going to talk about that. Really, the only thing that we're gonna talk about is in the Atlanta Braves later today is the Speedway Series that's happening at Bristol. Last time we did not talk about that as they unveiled the jerseys and the hats, and I want to give my opinion on those jerseys because I am not a huge... I mean, I like the jerseys. I'm just not a huge fan of the hats and some other things that are in this setup. I think it looks cool. I think it's awesome to kind of bring baseball in the realm of NASCAR because I feel like we've said this before. We feel like NASCAR and baseball and hockey players are like the same person. But NASCAR and baseball are really the same type of people. You've got your Southerners, you've got your rednecks, if you want to call them, you've got your hillbillies, like you've got all of those types of things, especially in the southern part of the world, or the southeastern part of the world, and that is the United States of baseball. Like it is just a different breed when you play in the South. That's the reason why we don't give a shit when Big Ten schools come out of nowhere and do something, or really just Pac-12 schools do anything, because really baseball is king in the South. Just like football is king in the South, baseball is another thing, and another big thing in the South. And don't you dare! I will never dirt on NASCAR. I am a NASCAR fan through and through. I'm not a fake NASCAR fan. I'm not one of those people that says they like NASCAR, but I couldn't name a single driver. You know what I mean? Like, I grew up being a Rusty Wallace fan. Okay, I grew up, my mom being a Jeff Gordon fan. My real dad was a Sterling Merlin fan. Okay, Sterling Marlin fan. All right, so I know the Dick Trickles of the world. I know the Bobby Allisons. I know the Davey Allisons of the world. You know what I mean? Like, we know racing. We know people. We know Carl Edwards. We know Jimmy Johnson. We know people. Ryan Newman. We can just start rattling off names. We don't give a crap about any of these new age drivers. I'm sorry. The only one of the new, or not even really the new age drivers, he's really one of the quote old guys, and that's Martin Truex Jr., Ward Burton, Bobby Labonte, Terry Labonte. I mean, we could go on and on. Richard Petty. I mean, we could sit here and go on and on and on. Trust me. There's a whole lot out there. Ricky Craven. You know that guy? Ricky Rudd. Are you a Rusty Wallace fan, or are you a Rusty? I'm a Rusty Wallace fan. I am not a Brad Keselowski fan, okay? I don't like it when he took over the Miller Lite car. Are you kidding me? I'm telling you, Bobby Allison with that Miller High Life car, and then you get Rusty Wallace with the Miller Lite car. Atomic, we're not watching centers. You can be a Formula One analyst if you'd like to. I know, right? Who knew? Like, and I thought I was saying something wrong. I thought that wasn't his name. There's like so many. Trust me, I know this. The useless knowledge that I know of like NASCAR drivers, or the useless knowledge of WNBA players that I know, like, it's just straight up useless knowledge. Remember to money me. You can subscribe on Twitch, $5.99 a month for a sub. You can also donate to the channel. $, Coach Grizzle, Venmo, Mass Braves. We'll keep that short. We don't ask for money. We don't ask for donations. Now, we do ask, well, I guess we do ask technically for donations if it's going to a good cause. If you do send it to the Venmo or the Cash App and you say, hey, donate to this, I'll gladly do it. Right now, we're trying to get a Chinook Seedery sponsorship. I kept trying to buy their little sampler pack of sunflower seeds because they're like the official sunflower seed of Bobby Witt Jr. and USA Baseball. So I'm trying to get. I was trying to buy them earlier, and then my card kept declining. I just used it like 20 minutes ago. How is my card declining? Cole Trickle. You mean Dick Trickle? That should be. That should be your. That should be your favorite racer. I mean, you know what's crazy? The Landon Huffman guy, that is the quote, you know, when he got quote called Trash Panda or whatever. I met that guy on Mixer, and later, I guess, in between Mixer and then transitioning to Twitch. I met that guy randomly one time and communicated with him multiple times on Twitter. Tried to actually get him on the radio station a couple of times. Yeah, Cole Trickle from Days of Thunder. Dick, yeah, you might want to call your doctor if you're Dick. No, stop it. We had a whole podcast, or really a stream, about nutting, And now we're not talking about Dick Strickland, all right? We're not going to do that. But back to the Landon Huffman thing. You know, he's one of those, like, he's not right there. He's not a Sprint Cup driver. He's kind of like a lower market driver. You know, he got called Trash Panda. Then the Trash Panda sponsored him, put a logo on that, and all these types of things. But, like, I remember when he was trying to, like, get a gaming... It was like not just iRacing and all that types of things, because I think that's what some of these racers are iRacers, like William Byron. A lot of these guys are iRacers that ended up coming through the virtual reality realm of racing, rather than being like some kind of legacy, like a Bubba Wallace, like a few other drivers. You know what I mean? Like Elliott, all those types of things. Like there's other drivers that obviously came through. That had, you know, a legacy, or someone that had a family member in this sport. But you'll have like other guys that I guess came into the ranks of doing these types of things. Well, he was trying to get like people in this like gaming group or whatever. I actually got a contract sent to me by one of the guys that was like partnered with him for a little while. I turned it down because I didn't really expect much out of it. They have a Discord that like nobody's in anymore. So like obviously it hasn't done anything. But it was one of those things where I was just kind of like, I was kind of iffy on it. You know what I mean? Did you know the movie is based on Dale Earnhardt and Tim Richmond? I did not know that. I think it's great though. I think it's an amazing movie. I think it's a movie that still stands the test of time. Like you can still watch it today and really enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like I like that movie and Talladega Nights. Like, those are two great NASCAR movies. Like, just absolutely great. And Will Ferrell is always great. But the seriousness, I guess, that's behind Days of Thunder, like, obviously, like, it's great. I mean, there's a lot of great scenes in that movie, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of iconic, like, you know, sayings in that movie, too. Don't pit. Why? Because we're eating ice cream. Ice cream? And then he gets out and tries to beat him up. Yeah. I'm dropping the hammer. You know what I mean? He didn't rub you. He's like, he didn't hit you. He rubbed you. And rubbing's racing, son. I mean, come on. It's just iconic. Like I said, I'm not one of those fake ass NASCAR fans. I promise you. I probably don't watch all the races nowadays. Like, I may pick up every now and then when they're on. But like, I'm not one of those top, like I just don't anymore. Like, it's not in the realm of the sports that I really like sit down and watch anymore. I'll occasionally turn it on. It's kind of like golf. I would say I would watch, you know, NASCAR a little bit more than I do golf, but it's one of those sports where it's like, I have to know that it's on, or I have to pay attention and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to get on and do that. You can have an elite set of tires. That was the thing. You always burned up the tires, drove too fast. I don't know what to do with my hands. You know what I mean? Like, that's from Talladega Nights. But if you could just put them down by your side. Like, you know, like, it's one of those things that, like, I think that movie when I was a kid, huge, I mean, because I was a huge fan of it. And then now it's like, you get a little bit older. It's like, I kind of lost it because once Rusty Wallace retired, and really it was just, you know, a few guys that I knew that were the young guys, and now they're older guys, you know, then I became like, I will say this, before Jimmy Johnson had his drive for 7, like, I literally, like, I was a huge fan of that. I love the Lowe's car. Like, I just love that 48. Like, it just looked good to me. And I just enjoyed it. Maybe I was a bandwagoner. Sure. But I liked Carl Edwards, Martin Truex Jr. You know what I mean? There were other guys that, like, I appreciated watching. I did like Brad Keselowski a little bit because I liked the way that he just talked trash. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just kind of one of those fans that likes when they talk to each other and likes when they have banter and when nobody's really their best friend. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like it in basketball, the NBA especially. I don't like it when they're best friends. Like, they shouldn't be best friends. You should be out there wanting to beat the crowd. You can go be best friends outside of the sport. But, like, all this, like, level of respect on the court and blah, 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 nah. Like, nobody plays defense anymore. I need guys that want to win. You know, I want to see some fights. You know, even if it's fake. You know what I mean? Give me some hockey fighting. You know what I mean? In NASCAR. I'm not condoning fighting, but it's like most people start getting rowdy, start getting crazy about it. I mean, you have situations like that. Like, people got to be smart, obviously, in that sport. You can die in that sport. So, or I guess, is it really a sport? Is it really called is NASCAR a sport? Yeah, I like Carson. I do like Carson. Yeah, I really like William Byron. The dude has, for being like a non-legacy, non-traditional driver, the man has won many championships, or won many races, and it's just been like one of those young up-and-coming guys that's like, I mean, taking over the 24, sure. But I just like the transition that it has happened, because you have a lot of different drivers. Like, it was like, what was it, a couple of years ago? You had like, through a stretch of like 12 or 13 races, you had a different winner, you know, like every race. It's not the same 4 guys winning every year. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I just like when we talk about parity in college football or parity in other sports, like the parity in NASCAR is there. You don't really see the dominant drivers winning all of them, or winning 2 back-to-backs, or doing certain types of things. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I like more of that type of, when we call, quote, parity. And I think that's a sport where it's like anybody can come out of nowhere and get a top 10 finish, or anyone can come out of nowhere and be in the top 5 and lead races for multiple laps, and then maybe not win it, but definitely go, okay, turn heads and be like, hey, who's that guy? You know what I mean? So we were going to talk a few things. Did we get everything out of the way social-wise? Make sure you like and subscribe on the YouTube, youtube.com/@CoachGrizzleTV. Also follow on Twitch, twitch.tv/CoachGrizzle. Find all the content there. Find some clips. If you're an admin or a mod or whatever of the stream, even if you're just watching it and you feel like there's some pretty good clipping in there, clip it. Because if it's good, I'm going to need it. And sometimes I get a little distracted and I forget. So, but we try to at least bring a few segments to talk about, a few things that are going on in the sports world. You know, you got, like today, for instance, we're going to talk about NFL training camp, the UFL leaving Birmingham and some other cities, and our take on that, because we thought we thought 2 days ago when I was listening to a local radio station, they had Skip Holtz on, and he talked about it. Let's already get into that. Let's just talk about that right now. Okay, and then we'll talk about the Braves later. We'll talk about the NASCAR series later. Also, re-downloaded Rivals. And yes, that is a really good, by the way, that is a really good title. I'm pretty damn good at Marvel Rivals, and I get really good views on Marvel Rivals. You know who gets really good views? Lady Bird. You know who gets really good views? Lady Bird. She's sleeping. Okay, she's sleeping. All right. But the fact that Lady Bird is generating content alone, like, she's just generating views because of her prettiness, and that she's just one of the most amazing dogs around. She's pissed because she wants to go outside, but it's absolutely hot. So we're gonna try to go later, much later. It's actually cooled down a little bit because it stormed like crazy yesterday, and then it rained. It was like a monsoon. There were areas where I had to drive in the middle of the road because the water was just at a standstill. It was awful. It was puddling all up everywhere. It was just bad. People taking hits, like lightning hits and stuff, like crazy. The lightning too was insane yesterday. But it just seems like everyone wants to watch the Marvel Rivals content. Everybody wants to watch the Ladybird content, and that will continue. Even when we start back next Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Ring the bells. I have to go back to work. You know what I mean? Oh, woe is me. I have to work. Because I have to make monies for the girl. I have to buy her toys and treats and dog food. It's all for the girl at the end of the day. It's all for the bird. So I do actually work tomorrow too. So there won't be any kind of streaming or podcast. We'll probably try to maybe stream Friday or Saturday. I'm trying to figure that out yet. I don't think I'm going to do a podcast on Friday, but I could do definitely a Marvel Rival stream. I've been playing a lot of The Isle. If you like The Isle with the scary dinosaur game, that one's always a lot of fun too. It can get kind of boring though, because if I'm not saying anything or nothing's going on, there's a lot of downtime where you're trying to hide or that you're trying to find food. And so there's a lot of trekking and regaining your stamina, and it can get kind of boring after a while. So maybe we play some Marvel Rivals. Maybe we play, I don't know, some Helldivers. You know, we're going to try to figure out what we're going to play. We got to figure out the sound, though, because it seems like every time I play Helldivers, I may actually have to use, like, my earbuds and plug it into my speaker. Because every time I keep using my headset, it makes it sound so distorted and bad. So I can't sit there and continue to do that. I really just can't. So anyway, we'll get into. All right, let's change that up because I want to give my take on that later. Since we're still on the baseball, NASCAR talk, what's going on in the Braves game? 9-3 in the bottom of the 8th. By the way, Verlander's 0-8. Strider, not so great. Both were throwing like 70-something pitches in the 5th inning. And it didn't start until Strider started doing stuff. And then both guys had like no runs given up, going this multiple pitching duel between two guys. And of course, the Giants can figure it out when they couldn't even figure out fielding 2 days ago. But they can figure out the bats. Rafael Devers can figure out bats all of a sudden again. And the Braves are down 9-3 to the Giants. Probably going to lose this game. It's the end of the 8th. They got to stop the Giants in the top of the 9th. Then they got to somehow come back and score 6 runs in the bottom of the 9th. And we, as Braves fans, have watched many times the Braves just falter and just cannot figure it out. I mean, I swear, it's like they're going to lose back-to-back series to the Yankees now. And if they lose this game, they're going to lose to the Giants. They take a day off, then they got to travel to the Rangers. The Rangers, who are not an easy team. This was not them 3 years ago, where they were the worst team in baseball. Then the very next year, they win the World Series. So it's going to be a problem. And I think DeGrom might pitch one of those weekends or one of those games. So, speaking of baseball, I really do like, I will say this, I really do like these jerseys. This has come from Bristol Motor Speedway itself. Of course, they're going to be wearing NASCAR-inspired jerseys. Major League has introduced Speedway classic uniforms for the Atlanta Braves and Cincinnati Reds for the historic game at Bristol Motor Speedway on August 2nd, featuring racing theme accents and designs. The Nike jerseys preserve the classic look of the Braves and Reds, adding race-inspired elements like bold, shadowed, and movement suggestive numbers, which it's just like they're diagonal or something. Custom caps and helmets for with motorsport tributes. New era caps customized of each team's cap to reflect motorsport styling, with the Braves featuring flame design and the Reds showcasing checkered flags on the visor. Rawlings designed the helmets inspired by NASCAR styles, including racing style numbers, speed-themed wordworks, and checkered flag motives that align with each team's identity. All right. So here we go. I'm giving you my take on this. Here's Ellie De La Cruz. I love the numbers. The numbers look great. The bats, they look pretty legit. I like that. Sure, if they're going to have flame bats or they're going to have checkered bats, that looks cool. That looks cool. All right? Got the Braves, got the Speedway Classic. The numbers look good. The jersey looks great. The helmet. Why couldn't you just put 27 on the side of it? Like their numbers. Why did you have to add the Atlanta part, the checkered flag part? It just looks ugly to me. It looks like something I had when I was in kindergarten. And my mom got one of those spray brush things that she went out and had somebody do this little spray brush thing that said Chad on it. And it looks like kind of like a softball helmet. Like most females, young softball players when they're in Little League, until they get into like the high school realm, like they've got the little airbrush, thing on there. And I just don't like it. Why couldn't you just put the 27 on the side of it? You already have the logo on the front. I like the bats. The bats look great. But it's the helmet for me. I just can't stand that. I don't like that. I don't like that aspect of the helmet. So then I'm looking through and it's cool. You got your Speedway Classic. Of course, you've got quick read for the Braves on their their sponsor. And I think the Reds are Kroger. So the Kroger ones, I don't like the logos on them. They could have probably done them without the logos, but I understand why they have to, or the logos, the sponsors. But I understand why they have the sponsors. All right, the hats. Let me be the hat guy. I love hats. I'm not a big fan of all this weird fascination with the corded hats, whatever. You can call me an old man. I just think some of these corded hats they're not for me. Okay, I like the trucker hat. All right, you know what I mean? I like the mesh. I like a traditional hat that just looks great. You know what I mean? And realistically, I'm a big 47 guy. I'll always be a 47 guy. I love 47 hats. New Era hats, to me, feel like they're heavy. New Era hats, to me, feel like they're made of like a weird material that just doesn't do well with my hat of hair. You know what I mean? Or my head of hair. So I will always be a 47 guy. The majority of the hats that I have are 47. Like, I think this is a New Era because my parents got it for me. These hats, when they actually look like actual hats with the straps, these hats are fine. New Era, these hats are fine in New Era. But I am not a guy. I'm not a guy that can wear the hats that are like real thick, fitted. Like I have a blue Trash Pandas hat that it just, when I put it on, it's like I'm wearing a wool hat. Like I can't wear it all the time. It's just how heavy that hat feels. So I'm looking at this hat, right? The checkered flag does not do it for me. Put numbers on the side or something. Put numbers on the back. Put the gas station hat. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. This looks like something you get at like Hunt Brothers gas station. You get Hunt Brothers pizza. This is literally something that if I go to a Hunt Brothers pizza / gas station, this is what I expect to get that. Like I can get it. It's hanging in the rafters of some sketchy ass gas station. You know what I mean? That in a bad part of town. All right. Or like I said, or a gas station when you're traveling in the middle of nowhere and they got that Hunt Brothers pizza. Shout out to Hunt Brothers Pizza. They got that Hunt Brothers pizza / gas station. And it's like, oh, I can buy one of these Atlanta Braves hats for $25, which is a ridiculous amount of money to buy. If you're even going to buy a hat at a gas station. But I'm sorry. This just doesn't do it for me. I can be the old guy, the young guy, whatever. Like I said, it looks like something you would buy at a sketchy ass gas station. So the hats don't do it for me. The bats look great. The jerseys look great. The helmets look great without the random garbage on the side. They have Hunt Brothers Pizza has Hunt Brothers Pizza has a Twitter account or a Twitch account? We got to start following them. Hunt Brothers Pizza, man. Telling you. You want some gas station pizza? You know who has really good sidebar? You know who has really, really good gas station pizza? I think these look great though. I can't do that. Just for me, I can't get into these I can get into these jerseys, but I just can't get into the helmets and I can't get into the hats. Everything else is perfect. But who has really good gas station pizza is what is it called now? Kangaroo. What are they called now? Circle K. Circle K has some bomb-ass pizza. You walk in, it's one of those gas stations. Well, it's a good gas station when you walk in and they got the hot dogs rolling. They got the little chicken log things that have the little spiciness to them. You know what I mean? Like, you've had one of those chicken sticks. You know you have. You know you've had a chicken stick. You walk in, got some hot dogs rolling. Then you got the freaking tower. All right? And it's just a rotating oven or a heater. It's a rotating little heating thing. And you walk in, you got a slice of cheese pizza, a slice of sausage pizza, or a slice of pepperoni pizza. And these people at Circle K they take that pizza and they make it. They have ovens and all that stuff behind the counter. They make that pizza and put it up there for you. You get a 79-cent drink, which in my opinion is way too much money to pay for a fountain drink. Go back to the days of 25 cents where I could walk in. You can go to a place called Dodge's, another great gas station. If you don't know Dodge's fried chicken, Dodge's gas station and fried chicken, you are missing out, sir. Hello, Haley. Hello, Hailstorm. How are you? You are missing out on an experience. If you ever have the chance to go to a place called Dodge's fried chicken or Dodge's, whatever it is, Dodge's gas station and fried chicken, whatever it's called, you can walk in and you can get a turkey leg, a fried turkey leg, this freaking long. All right? You can get some of the best biscuits you've ever had in your entire life. Make sure you go follow Hailstorm. She didn't invite me to Fort Day. So, some of the best chicken biscuits, steak biscuits, sausage and egg and cheese biscuits. I know. It's okay. They're the best. You can get like 3 strips in a roll, 2 strips in a roll. You can get all these types of things. You can get wings at Dodge's, a gas station. You can get wings, really good wings, by the way. So, like I said before, these hats that the Braves and the Reds are going to be wearing with the checkered flag on the bill or the flame on the bill looks like some trash ass hat that I could buy at some sketchy gas station in a bad part of town or on my way. Let's say I'm traveling down 280. There's plenty of Hunt Brothers Pizza's gas stations all over 280. I could probably find one of those Braves hats. Before it was a New Era thing. Like, it's just bad. And these jerseys look better than, what was it, the 2021 or 2022 jerseys? Where they had, like, the script down the side, and they had the logo, and then they had the number right here, like, on the bottom of the front of the jersey. Like, those are better than the jerseys they had for an All-Star game. But it's the hats for me and the helmets. They could have done better with the hats, and they could have done better with the helmets. But that I digress. Like, I think it's going to be fun. August 2nd, Bristol Motor Speedway, you're going to be able to watch a baseball game in the middle of a NASCAR track. And they're not going to sit there and throw, and dirt's not going to get all in the grandstands, and dirt's not going to get all in the track. You're not going to make it dirty. It's going to be a clean game. But it's going to be fun. I like the collab. I really do like the collab of baseball and NASCAR because we've said this many times before. Like, baseball and hockey fans, it's like the same breed. You know what I mean? You have the same type of player. And then when it comes to the fan base, you have the same type of fan base in NASCAR as you do baseball. You don't like the NASCAR base? Why? Please give us your take on that. We just talked about it. Look, I mean, this is what we talked about. If you weren't just here. I like the jerseys. The jerseys look great. Okay? The helmet looks fucking stupid. The hat, fucking stupid. You got checkered flag on the top of the Reds. Checkered flag on top of the Reds. Flames on top of the Braves. It just looks like ass. Like that part's ass. This looks cool. I like the number. I like the bat. That looks cool. But that one, no. No, they do not. No, they do not. Because I don't think that they've been asked to do that yet. They're just doing this because they're the two teams that got picked this year for the Speedway Classic. That's why. I'm sure that they'll probably end up doing a bunch of other stuff. What's going on that weekend? Before the players take the field in these one-of-a-kind uniforms, Tim McGraw, Pitbull, and who is Jake Owen, headline the special pregame concert presented by T-Mobile 5G home internet adjacent to the field. Activities at the Speedway Classic Fan Zone include live musical performances by country stars. I have no idea who Jake Owen is. I have no idea who Timothy Wayne, Raina Roberts, or Adam Doliak are. So, I guess I don't know country music at the end of the day. The only person that you really need to know, they should ask Garth Brooks. They have Tim McGraw out there. Why do they have Pitbull out there? What does Pitbull have to do with anything NASCAR? Just because he owns the Florida International Stadium or whatever doesn't mean that he's like this NASCAR person. I guess because he's Pitbull. You know what I mean? But, I mean, you couldn't call up Garth Brooks. Garth Brooks wasn't available. Garth Brooks isn't worth it anymore. He is worth it. You're telling me that you couldn't call up Garth Brooks and Garth Brooks put up a better concert than Pitbull? Or whoever the hell Jake Owen is? He's flipped since he cheated on his wife. Well, he's a terrible person for that. Just like the CEO of that AI company. Oh, they got a 110-foot Ferris wheel they're going to bring in. That sounds like some carny shit. Carnies and NASCAR fans, too. Carnies and NASCAR fans are a little bit about the same. ESPN Sports Center, 50 states in 50 days. Live broadcast set, team mascots. Corona beach-inspired lounge and beer garden. It's going to be like a pop-up tent. Like they're gonna have like small little like plants around them. It's gonna be like some fake ass shit. The Budweiser Clydesdales are gonna be there. That's pretty dope. Branded MLB stock cars for photo opportunities. The cars look cool. Now the cars look pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie. You like the Flames? We just talked about it. It looks like something you could buy at a gas station. Not for me. Just stick to the basics. You know what I mean? Like shit, you could have made it a trucker hat. I mean, you could have made it a damn trucker hat and I would have been dope with it. Looks better than the Flames. So shout out to Hark and Hale being here. Head of Steel being here. Yorkie being here. So sorry, for me, it just doesn't work for me. Okay? It won't work for me. I'm sure it'll work for other people that might end up buying that hat. But it ain't gonna work for me. All right. We're moving on to football. We've got NFL to talk about. We got one segment of NFL to talk about. We got UFL And then if we can get to it before we go to On This Day in History, we've got to bring up Tommy Castellanos' backing of what he said against the Crimson Tide. You're right. You're right. Dude, we talked about it 2 days ago. I brought it up 2 days ago on the podcast. Both of these teams have come out and said that they've invested enough money or a ton of money into what they have right now, and they probably won't go back to that. They probably won't go back to that logo. Now, the Redskins maybe, but I don't think the Guardians ever will. I could see the Redskins going back to being the Redskins, but I don't see the Guardians going back to the Indians. I mean, the Redskins the Commanders, the Washington football team, whatever you want to call them, they made it to the NFC Championship game last year with a rookie quarterback. So, I don't know. Trust me. I would love for them to go back. We talked about it 2 days ago. The people that got butthurt over these logos, over these mascots, the people that got butthurt were the people that aren't even the ones that created it or are of that descent. It wasn't Native American people that were butthurt over the Redskins logo. It was a bunch of people that had no business being butthurt over it and making it more of it what it really is. Dude, I like Baker Mayfield. I am not a Baker Mayfield hater. I didn't like him at Oklahoma. And I'm sure you absolutely adored him at Oklahoma. I think that he has had more playoff appearances as Commanders in 10 years as the Redskins. Well, yeah. Their owner's also a dipshit. So, I like Baker Mayfield. I don't have any ill will toward him. I didn't like the way he carried himself in college, but Baker was just like that. That was his mentality. He kind of was a tool in college. He was cocky, he did all those things, the nut grabbing, the planting of the flag, like all those things. But now, in the NFL, I like him. I think he got shafted when he went to Cleveland because it's the Cleveland Browns. They're a shit-ass franchise. They don't give a shit. And they clearly did him wrong. He had 2 different head coaches when he was there. Okay, buddy. Who has the most recent national championship? Sorry, who has had most recent multiple national championships? Go ahead. I'd like for you to tell me who that is. No. No. You couldn't even win the fucking Big 12. What the fuck are you talking about? You had to run to the SEC and you still can't even win the SEC. Missouri has had 2 SEC championship appearances. You haven't even been there yet. Texas has a more recent national title than the Oklahoma Sooners have. The Texas Longhorns, it was either going to be like every single year, it's either with the Big 12, it was like winning the Big 12. And the Big 12 is ass. They just said no to Memphis. We talked about this in the last podcast. They said no to Memphis, who tried to give them like $200 million. The same amount of money that the WNBA accrued in a given year while losing $50 million. I bet you the Memphis Tigers didn't lose $50 million. The Big 12 has 2 teams in their entire conference that have won a national title. BYU and Colorado. And you're going to tell me that BYU and Colorado are going to run the Big 12 this year? BYU just got rid of their quarterback because he broke some code of conduct law with the BYU organization, franchise, program, whatever you want to call it. Go Buckeyes. It's go Chippewas, bro. Go Chippewas, not Buckeyes. it's going to be Oklahoma State. I like Gundy. I like Oklahoma State. I didn't like some of the stuff he said about last year about having one of his players get a DUI. And then he tried to like compare it to like other DUIs he may have possibly gotten out of. Like that was the only thing, because he was like condoning his play. That's like if Kirby Smart came out and condoned that last player that just got in trouble for driving fast and driving drunk. Yeah, what was his name? That's just as bad as Hugh Freeze condoning Malcolm Simmons and the domestic violence thing that he's going through. Like, he's like, well, you know, he was a lot smarter. If like, what? Like, what are you talking about? How do you condone that, coach? Not saying that Hugh Freeze did any of that or Kirby Smart did any of that. I don't want anybody thinking that. But that Gundy went out and was just like, well, like, just kind of shrug it off. Like, okay. Like, are you kidding me? So if we're talking college football right now, we'll bring it up. It's like Jerry Jones or Gundy. Jerry Jones talking about the situation signing Micah Parsons to a long-term deal. He's going to be paid. He's going to get paid probably the most money by a non-quarterback player. The market just keeps going up for the NFL. They have the money to do it. But it's Jerry Jones being Jerry Jones. And I don't like the slander that he had towards both of those players, saying that, like, oh, they could get hurt or they could get hit by a car or a bus or whatever, or a train or a plane or whatever, just walking out the door. Talking about how Micah Parsons was out for 6 games last year. Or when Dak got signed to one of the biggest contracts for a quarterback, which I think he deserves. That, you know, he was out for a third of the year or whatever. And here's the thing. What pissed me off is because it's ESPN. They don't do any proofreading. They got caught. See you later, buddy. They got caught in some bullshit where they found a video on Twitter that was from like 2 years ago when Dak Prescott threw to Brandon Cooks in a game, or I mean in a practice. All right. And they tried to claim that it was like him throwing to your boy from Pittsburgh. So my thing was the Dak Prescott slander, I think, is unwarranted, because I also heard them say something like this in First Take or whatever it was. I think it was Chris Canny maybe, or maybe it was Hawkins. I can't remember. They were talking about how, oh, well, if they don't have Micah Parsons, well, they can't stop people on third down. They can't do this. They can't do that. They can't win championships, blah, blah, blah. They can't get it. The only reason the Dallas Cowboys have even made the playoffs, the only time they've made the playoffs, is when Dak Prescott's healthy. And Dak Prescott plays for a franchise that, honestly, he should get the hell out of there. So I don't understand the Dak Prescott slander at all. Like, at all. They made the playoffs when he's healthy. They don't make the play. Name whoever the fuck, Cooper Rush, whoever the fuck's their backup. Don't they have what's his name? Joe Milton? Joe Milton over there? You think Joe Milton's gonna get them to the playoffs? Or whoever the hell their backup is? Hell no. And they're not gonna win as many games either as they would with him. So Jerry Jones, I get what he was saying. I completely understand. He's seeing the big picture as an owner. But you don't throw your players under the bus like that. Like, you just don't. Because the players can't come out and say anything about their employer. I learned out that the hard way. Okay? You can't say things on social media. Now, you might be able to repost it because you're mad from someone else. But you can't bring up your hardships or what's going on in your work when your boss controls all the strings. You know what I mean? Even as much as you feel like that you should get paid, how much you get overworked, all those types of things. I would know. So, yeah, I was really pissed off about that. We keep transitioning back and forth because we keep getting picked up new questions, and that's what the chat's for. That's what makes this thing keep flowing. That's what makes this thing keep going and going and going. But it is training camp. We are talking about the NFL. We'll get back to the we'll get to college football after, and then we'll go to the UFL. Training camp's going on. Falcons are going on. Falcons start practice tomorrow. They reported today to Flowery Branch. Here are some of the training camp 11 open practices they have. Of course, they start tomorrow at 9:30. On the 26th, they're going to have Terry Fontenot and Morris addressing the fans. So I'm going to get ready for that. Kind of try to watch some of these press conferences that they're going to have throughout the week or throughout these next couple of weeks and see what's going on around that. There's a lot of questions that are trying to be asked throughout this training camp as well for the Atlanta Falcons. That's the thing about being an Atlanta fan. You can sit here and love it and enjoy whatever you feel like is going to happen in the next season, and you're really on top of and you're really enthusiastic about what the lineup is for the Braves and all these types of things, and then you can lose all your pitchers. Then you can be one of the worst teams in baseball and start 0-9. Or you can do all these types of things and just lose ball games like you're doing right now to the Giants. You know what I mean? Or you've already lost to the Giants. Did they already lose to the Giants? 9-3 Giants. 9-3 Giants. Just lost back-to-back series. Or you could do some push-ups. Did you hit the push-up thing? Is that what you did? Is there a push? Did you do the push-ups button or whatever? See, I don't have Twitch up because it messes with the stream. I only have the live with Restream. Let me finish this, and then I will be a man of my word, and I'll do that. Of course, they have the joint practice with the Tennessee Titans, so you'll get to see Cam Ward and Michael Penix on August 12th and August 13th. So if you're a fan, these are some of the open practice training dates. You can go out and watch. You know, they got a projection of the 50-man 3 roster, according to Matt Urban from Falcons Wire. But there was another thing. There were a few questions that needed to be asked. I'll get through this quick. From Garrett Chapman on Atlanta Falcons on SI. One of the questions was, is the pass rush ready? I mean, the Falcons pass rush has been god-awful for the last decade. Fewer than 300 sacks in the last decade. They had 31 sacks last year. They're dead last in the NFL, or second to last in the NFL. They selected, of course, edge rusher Jalen Walker at number 15. Then they moved back up to get James Pierce Jr. At number 26. So they went with some young pass rushers. They're trying to figure it out when it comes to the pass rush. You know, of course, you had Vic Beasley from quite a few years ago now. It's almost 10 years ago now, or like really, 9 years ago now. Vic Beasley had the 15.5 sacks in a season, was an absolute stud, and then wasn't the same ever since. You thought Tack McKinley was that guy, and I was very emotional. Tack McKinley out there, a picture of his grandmother, doing it all for his grandmother. Dude's not there anymore. Was a total bust. You've got Arnold Ebiketie, who is a third-year player. He had the second best pass rush rating or something like that outside of Micah Parsons at Penn State, and the Falcons went after him. He's accounted for 21 of their total 31 sacks last season. He had 5 sacks in the final 6 games. They signed a veteran in Leonard Floyd from the San Francisco 49ers. He's his 10th season. He hasn't missed a single game since 2018 and recording at least 8.5 sacks since 2020. This is the thing. When they had Dwight Freeney, Uzi Omenyiora, whatever his name is, Omenyiora, when they had Dwight Freeney, it was really fun to watch. And it was a veteran player that got them in the right direction. It wasn't a Lorenzo Carter who just retired. You know what I mean? Who has just been an absolute, I wouldn't say bum, but hasn't been a Dwight Freeney. And you have a guy that can come in and do those types of things. They're not signing Khalil Max. You know what I mean? They're not signing Myles Garrett's. later in their career, trying to figure it out with a positive pass rush. They're trying to find it now in the young pass rush. But it's like, other than John Abraham, like, they haven't figured it out when it comes to pass rushers. So they got to figure it out what happens not only on the off the edges, but in the interior. Another question was who will step up on the interior of the defensive line. All right. Rook Ororo basically took what you would call, according to Garrett, a redshirt freshman year. But ESPN has named him as a non-established starter to watch, but fellow day 2 pick Brandon Dorless will be expected to take on a similar role in year 2. What's going to happen with Zach Harrison? He's now a third-year player at Ohio State. Out of Ohio State. What is Zach Harrison going to be able to do? Can he figure it out? Can he find the right role to play in the alignment, in the defense, all those types of things? You got David Onyemata, the veteran from the Saints, who will be joined by a new addition, Morgan Fox, who will both work to fill the gap, Lloyd by Grady Jarrett, and also departed Eddie Goldman. They'll be a lot lighter than Goldman. But Ulbricht's going to get him in the right direction. Jeff Ulbricht's going to get him in the right direction. The last time this defense was really good, Jeff Ulbricht had a huge hand to play in that. So, glad to see him back. Glad to see what he can do with that defensive line. Now the question was, can Michael Penix improve his touch? Can he be a much better quarterback than he was last year? Despite his short sample size, he says Penix was 4th in the NFL in yards and completion, a minimum of 100 plays. Despite not taking any significant amount of the first team reps until week 16, his 737 passing yards were 8th among all quarterbacks in those final 3 weeks. Penix only completed 58.1% of his passes as a rookie and had several instances where he put too much into a throw. Those numbers do not come into contrast to a pair of 65% completion seasons with the Washington Huskies. So maybe he was a little, he says, maybe he was a little jittery, unfamiliar with the receivers, all those types of things. But I think he'll get it right in this upcoming season. You also had, and there was one question was also, is there a kicking battle? I mean, Koo came, this is the healthiest he's going to come into this. He's going to come into this season healthy. He was out, he got put on the injury reserve in week 16. He missed 3 field goals. I mean, he was just awful last year. 73.5% of his kicks. It was a career low for him as a Falcon. All right, they played the Saints. He missed 3 field goals, and they lost 20-17. He makes 1 of those. It's a tie ball game. He makes 2 of those. The Falcons lose 23-20, and we're not talking about it until he gets hurt, I guess. But over the offseason, Lenny Krieg from Germany gets a 3-year, $3.02 million deal, 10,000 of it guaranteed, and is saying, is there a kicker battle? This dude's 23 years old. He made like 14 field goals in a row during a practice and during the combine and all these things. Is he the guy? Maybe. Is Koo gonna have to find another guy, another place? Possibly. Kickers will. That's the thing about kickers. As bad as you, even if you're really bad, Nick Folks of the world, you can find a new job. It won't take long. Some of these kickers they suck. Then they go find a new job. They start revitalizing their career, getting better, blah, blah, blah. Maybe a different setting. Maybe they were kicking outside and it was awful. Now they kick in a dome. A lot of stuff changes. I mean, Koo was on the Atlanta Legends. That team doesn't exist anymore. Speaking of teams that don't exist anymore, especially in the UFL, we'll get to that later. To finish it up, could Bijan Robinson make a run at an Offensive Player of the Year? In his second professional season, he had 18,087 scrimmage yards. He had 15 total touchdowns and 300 out of 365 total touches. He was just the 5th Falcons player to gain 1,800 yards in a single campaign, and a tremendous season, and enough to earn his first Pro Bowl nod, but not enough to garner a single vote for Offensive Player of the Year. So will he be an Offensive Player of the Year? Maybe. All right. I'm a man of my word. Before we get into, let's just transition to the NFL, then we'll finish with college. I will do the push-ups. So let me move the camera. Give me a second. Let me move the camera. Get everything set up. I think it's 10 push-ups, right? Is it 10 push-ups? I think it's 10 push-ups. We'll be a man of our word. Let me move everything out of the way. I gotta see if I can make this fit. Hold on. Okay. Because we gotta make sure that you can see me do the push-ups. Because you should be able to make me, like, you should be able to see me do the push-ups. Alright. We're gonna have room. There's no room because this chair's too big. Ladybird, stop getting scared because I'm moving the chair. Oh my goodness, dog. You're fine. You are such a scaredy dog. Why are you always scaredy dog? I'm literally moving the chair. I literally did some push-ups earlier. I literally did push-ups during practice earlier. I don't need to do any more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm a man of my word. You're welcome. Yeah, she did. Because she creates more content than her dad does. That's why. You are such a scaredy dog. Oh my gosh. Oh. Now I'm out of breath. Now I'm out of breath. Told you, I'm a man of my word. I'm out of breath. Ladybird's like, what the hell, Dad? You should have saw her. It was hilarious. I was moving the chair and she's like, what are you doing? Got that blood pumping. I was literally in wrestling practice like 3 hours ago. I'm tired. I'm old. I just ate lunch right before I did the podcast. Speaking of teams that don't exist anymore, can we just turn off the WNBA? You're not wrong. No, you want that replacement. You want that replacement. You know how to replace them? Never mind. We won't say that. He wakes up and his blood starts. Yeah. I mean, walking outside right now is like a sauna. So the blood is boiling. It's not just pumping, it's boiling. All right. The UFL. Just talking about teams that don't exist anymore. The Atlanta Legends, one of those teams. I'm waiting for the WNBA to go on strike to see if anyone notices. They will and they won't. And I say that they won't because the ignorant people won't. Or even just people that care won't. But there's just going to be just like the United States women's national team. They're going to get paid more money. No one's going to care. And then it'll be a 24-hour news cycle. And we'll never talk about it again. I mean, we're sitting here. Like, they keep bringing up the situation with Brittany Griner and her situation that she had over in Russia. Like, and it's like, we don't care anymore. Like, and I feel like that's going to happen with this situation because, like, a lot of people are be like, you don't understand, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, we do understand. Surprisingly enough, for people that don't watch the NBA, we know that you shouldn't get paid what you think you should get paid. We in the dub, dog. When you have to say we in the dub, dog, and nobody knows who you are, that's a problem. That's an issue. It's like saying we in the UFL, dog. I guarantee you people know who is in the UFL. But not anymore, because you got all these teams leaving. The Michigan Panthers may be no more, or more accurately, they might not be playing in Michigan next season. As reported by Pro Football Newsroom James Larson, the Panthers are one of 4 USFL teams. The USFL teams, not even the XFL teams. Yeah, what is the UFL? Guys were walking around downtown Birmingham that first year. Nobody knew who the hell you were. When they had the USFL come back and you had Birmingham and all those teams and blah, blah, blah. Nobody knew who the hell they were. I had mad respect for Cam Newton all through college, even as an Alabama fan. I liked Cam Newton. I hated him. I hated him as a Falcons fan. But it was some of the best football I've ever watched. The dude looked like a man playing with a bunch of kids out there when he was in college. The dude was an absolute freak. But now he's just some weirdo. He makes bullshit takes. But because he's Cam Newton, because he's a celebrity and, a former NFL athlete, you can get on a podcast and you can say out-of-pocket shit all the time. Me, I can't do that. I have to actually come out with some facts. Or I actually have to build some kind of backing where I can actually talk about certain things, and then maybe later on down the road, I can go down the barstool route and just be a bunch of degenerates that really have no fucking clue what they're talking about. I can always do that. But speaking of the UFL, and speaking of people that we probably don't even know who plays on the team, you probably could you name one player on the Birmingham Stallions? Jamar Chase? Was that his name? No, that's a wide receiver. Well, see, exactly. You couldn't name one damn player. I don't think Bo Scarborough's even on that team anymore. All right, we have never ever doubted that. We know we're a D-gen. Okay? Jamar Smith, that was his name. I didn't even look it up. I don't even have it. You saw I didn't change anything. Right? Alex Magoo. Remember Alex Magoo? Alex Magoo from a couple years ago, and they thought he was going to be a pretty good NFL player, or at least get a chance? No. Even destroying the former YouTuber. You probably should go back to YouTube, buddy. You probably should go back to making TikToks. You can't even make field goals. And that's where, we might see Koo next year. He might be on one of these relocated teams if somebody from the NFL doesn't pick him up. But I don't know why they wouldn't. Yeah, CFL is way more entertaining, but doesn't get the love. It used to be on ESPN. They used to play games on ESPN for the CFL. I know they would always do the Grey Cup, but you would always occasionally see from time to time, you would see like an actual regular season game. But as much money and bullshit that they put into, I don't mean to do that, my bad. As much money and bullshit that they put into this, it's like, what pissed me off? Destroying cheeks. What pissed me off? So the teams that are supposed to be relocating in 2026 will be the Houston Roughnecks, the Birmingham Stallions, the Memphis Showboats. The UFL has neither confirmed nor denied the news, releasing this statement in response. Every year, the league office looks at planning for next season and beyond. At this point, we have nothing to report on any unauthorized speculation. All 4 teams were part of the USFL conference. Larson also reports that UFL is abandoning the USFL XFL conference branding, which in my opinion was a good branding. That was two different conferences of 4 different teams to make 8 teams. And it was, as much as you don't like the product, it was football. We still would watch. More people probably watch. I doubt it. But you still would end up watching I was going to say more than the WNBA. By the way, 2.2 million viewers for the WNBA, by the way, for their All-Star game, because Caitlin Clark wasn't there. They had like 3.62. And then like these last 2 years were like some of the best they've had in like a 28-year span. But they don't want to talk about the 38.5% drop that they had from the last season, and only had 2.2 million people watching it, like anyone cared, because they in the dub. Remember, they in the dub, dog. But the UFL, I mean, it seemed like it was doing pretty consistent when it came to watching games. You know? I don't know how much the championship game had. I'd have to look that up. I'll look that up in a second. We'll compare that to the WNBA All-Star game. But literally, this is what pisses me off. So, like, we talked about this earlier in the podcast. Like, 2 days ago. This is 2 days ago now. And they just came out with this yesterday. They talked to Skip Holtz on Jocks 94.5 in Birmingham, Alabama on the 3-Man Front show. They asked Skip Holtz, they said, hey, with all the speculation, is Birmingham here to stay? Blah, 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 blah. He said, I know. He said, I guess as he knows right now, he went to the mouth of the horse. He went and talked to all these people. He went to the head top people of UFL and asked if they were here to stay. And he wasn't told anything. They said that they were good to go. They were here to stay. Then all of a sudden, The Rock says, nah, fuck it. We're going to move them. They are literally the crazy thing. According to Larson, 2 of the 4 new markets will be Boise, Idaho, and Columbus, Ohio. Columbus, Ohio makes sense, but Boise, Idaho? So you're going to take a team out of Birmingham and make them the Boise Stallions, right? Let's just think the Boise Stallions, right? Or they're going to be the Columbus Roughnecks, or the Columbus Showboats, or the Columbus or Panthers, whatever they're going to be. But then you're also going to see, you're either going to take them to Orlando, or you're going to take them to Louisville. Not Louisville, Louisville. So they're going to be the Louisville Showboats or the Orlando Showboats. Like, I don't get it. I just don't friggin' get it. You had a team in the Birmingham Stallions who won a 3-peat in the UFL or the XFL and the USFL championships. But they won 3 championships in a row. And what pisses me off is you have a head coach that can go on a radio show and blatantly lie. Obviously he knew or he didn't know, unless he's just fucking stupid. Or they just did not tell him whatsoever. So either he lied or he really didn't know whether the Birmingham Stallions were leaving and being relocated. So there's a big market in Boise, right? Orlando makes sense. Technically Orlando kind of doesn't really fucking make sense. They're not going to give a shit about the UFL team. Attendance isn't going to go up. They care about the Magic. They care about other teams. They care about Disney World. They don't care about the UFL. Columbus makes sense, but that's like a Columbus. That should be more of a college feel, right? Kentucky, like Louisville's college feel. Not a big football market. Okay, put them in Nashville. Call them the Nashville Panthers, and let them play in the Titans during the spring. Why isn't that a thing? Why can't we just go back to the AFL and make them a feeder to the NFL and have them where they're like, because we're already doing it with college football and the NIL. We already have NFL too. So just make it like English Premier League and have a secondary league. Make it La Liga 2. Make it Serie B instead of Serie A, right? Like have that bottom right there. Like you could put them there and have them as a feeder team to whatever team they're talking about. They do this MLS Pro. MLS Next Pro apparently has money to be able to have a Nashville team in Huntsville, Alabama. And they bank on, instead of actual ticket sales, they bank on Apple TV to somehow, and that's not attendance. That is not attendance. That is viewership. So they're banking on people to go buy Apple TV to go watch the Huntsville City FC, or let alone watch any kind of MLS game that's not on ESPN. Shit, we can only get one baseball game a week because TNT picks it up. Occasionally, you'll see Roku pick it up. The Roku channel will pick it up. And then you'll have a game on Saturday or Sunday, whenever they do it. I think it's Sunday. So, the Panthers, along with other 7 USFL teams, played all their home games at Protective Stadium in Birmingham, Alabama, in the league's inaugural 2022 season. The Panthers moved to Ford Field in Detroit, which it was like a ghost town. Even St. Louis, it was like a ghost town when you go look at that. It would look like a WNBA game. It looked like a WNBA game where you got a stadium of, well, that's a stadium of like 50,000 people, and you had maybe 16 to 20. All right. The WNBA plays in stadiums that are like 25,000, and they congratulate themselves for having 5,000 or 6,000. You know what I mean? Like, they can't, like, if you had a WNBA game at Probst Arena that covers about over 6,000 fans, I guarantee you probably have 1,500 if you made a team here. You maybe get consistent. It'd be like one of those arena football games where I could hear a freaking pin drop when it got quiet in that arena because there wasn't anybody there. I don't know. If you're banking it on mostly just ESPN programming and whatever, blah 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 blah, obviously the bigger markets work. And Birmingham never has been consistent when it comes to supporting their teams outside of Alabama and Auburn. So at the end of the day, like, maybe it's a good thing that they're leaving Birmingham because realistically everyone cares about Alabama, Auburn, even UAB, they play at Protective Stadium. Okay? But they have had issues in the past. They couldn't keep the Stallions. They couldn't keep the Birmingham Bolts and the XFL back in the day and the original XFL. So it's just not going to happen. Like, it's like here, if they ever tried to make a professional team in Huntsville, it may be one of the growing cities in the state, but they're not gonna get a professional team up here. They might get a bowl game occasionally up here, or they may get some. They're talking about getting some college teams that might want to meet in the middle and play at the soccer field, which used to be a baseball field, which used to be the Stars' home stadium. They're trying to get people to come to Wicks Family Field and do one of those types of things. So they're trying to get people to come to the city. That's a thing. But the fan base has to be there. I mean, go look at it right now. I sat there and watched the Trash Pandas game. I didn't go to the Sunday game. Saturday game got rained out, but Friday and Saturday are the only times people really show up because there's fireworks. It's the weekend. You play 6 games throughout the week. But they had a doubleheader on Sunday, and I didn't see anybody really show up until the second game. The first game, it was like a ghost town. Tuesday, it's a ghost town. Wednesday, unless it's some special bobblehead night or unless it's some special giveaway night, like that, it's no different than how it used to be with the Stars. People didn't show up. You give me $2.50 Thursdays, I'm down. I'll start coming more on Thursdays. But if you don't add more things, and I think that's what the Trash Pandas are doing now, is it looks like they had some construction going on in the right field, outfield area. And I don't know what that's going to be. But if that isn't like something really cool and something fun for the fans, like I have said many times, put some like benches out, put some picnic benches or put something out there for, hell, it's a big gravel pit. You could just throw some turf out there and let the kids play on like a little makeshift baseball field or something, because they already throw a baseball around out there. Put some bar seating around the rest of the bar tables or the rest of the bar top that you have that goes around the outside of the outfield. I like being able to, what I like to do is I like to buy a general admission ticket instead of sitting in the berm in the grass. I like to go sit or stand right behind the bullpen. You can see the whole game. They hit home runs out that way. But you're like right there in front of the bullpen. So if I'm watching a future guy come out of nowhere from the Trash Pandas, he's going to be with the Bees next week. Then he's going to be with the Angels the very next week. I went to go watch the Clingstones play the play the Trash Pandas. And I was looking for Ian Mejia's, Drew Hackenberg's, all those types of things. Some guys were on the injured list. They just got reinstated. But I'm trying to see the next Right-handed, left-handed pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. Next outfielder, next first baseman, next catcher, whoever. Because I've seen these guys come through here. And that's what's fun to me. So make it more interactive in the outfield. Make some different types of things. But it's not gonna. It doesn't change. It's like you can sit here and say that sports in Alabama are on the rise. Not really. No. Because college football will always be king. People will spend their hard-earned money. They will go bankrupt. All those types of things to support the Crimson Tide or the Auburn Tigers. It is what it is. So speaking of the Crimson Tide and moving to college football before we get to On This Day in History, and we're trying to finish it up because we're not going to try to go the full 2 hours. Tommy Castellanos is doubling down on his meant no disrespect towards his jab towards the Alabama Crimson Tide. This is an article by David Hale out of ESPN. But Florida State quarterback Tommy Castellanos isn't backing down from his comments he made this summer suggesting Alabama didn't have Nick Saban to save them in the Week 1 matchup between the two teams. So this is speaking to the Gabriels of the world out there. Get ready, son, because Florida State's about to get embarrassed in their own stadium. Castellanos, a transfer from Boston College, has been a spark of confidence for a Florida State team reeling following a 2010 campaign in 2024. This is also the same Tommy Castellanos who basically got benched and then said, I'm out of here because I don't like it. I don't like to handle adversity. I just like to quit on my team. And I want to find a new team now because I lost my starting spot. So now he wants to say now he wants to say it's his team since he's been coming over to Florida State. We stand on what I said, Castellanos said Wednesday. I said what I said, and we stand on that, which is today. I don't mean no disrespect to none of those guys. Maybe learning some little bit better grammar. At Alabama or anything like that. I have confidence in my guys and the work we've been putting in and preparing and the preparation we've been putting together. That's all that was. I need to read better. That's all that was. No disrespect to those guys, but we stand on what I said. Castellanos initially made comments regarding Saban's impact on Alabama in June, then followed up by trash-talking Alabama receiver Isaiah Horton, who's a guy that's going to be an up-and-coming wide receiver, I'm going to tell you right now, for the Crimson Tide. Last week suggesting, y'all boys going to see what happens when the Tide travel to Tallahassee for their opener. Okay. This man said he's standing on business and that he didn't mean no disrespect. Well, you wouldn't have said what you said with the Nick Saban comment, you freaking clown. Like, you wouldn't have said these things, and you're at ACC kickoff, which is nowhere even near what the SEC Media Days is, let alone Big Ten Media Days is bigger than the ACC kickoff. Your team, I guarantee, won't even be one of the top, maybe will be one of the top 5 teams, but won't be one of the top 2 teams to win your conference. It'll be Clemson, probably Miami, maybe Louisville. I don't see Florida State being one of those teams that's going to be in, let alone that top 3 by the media. Now, maybe if a heavy Florida State contingent throws a bunch, I'm saying contingent like I'm watching History Marsh, that might throw some first place votes or second place votes for Florida State to get them higher up and maybe have some better finishes projected wise. But I don't see it. I just don't, I don't see it. And I don't, the thing is about Alabama, and they got asked questions about that situation. They're not going to listen to it. They're going to do what they're going to do. They're going to keep their head down and they're going to walk into this and they're going to beat the crap out of them. I fully believe it. And I think like it's the 26th. This is one thing I don't like. And I guess maybe I'm the old guy, is you'll have Ryan Williams, Isaiah Horton, and Jeremy Bernard, talk about or have like a 24-hour Twitch stream or something. Like, so if you're into that, if you want to watch that, that's going to be a thing. But I wish that they would pay attention to, I don't know, the preseason, getting into shape, doing all those things, keeping your head down, not listening to what they're having to say, and go out there and beat the crap out of them. Because I feel like a lot of people are slandering Ty Simpson. I feel like they're not giving him a lot of credit. There are some people out there that think he could be a Jake Coker of the world, right? Or a Mac Jones of the world that's been with the program for multiple years and came out of nowhere and basically dominated. But see, if you go listen to multiple former old podcasts, even I've said it on the radio, so it's been on the air, it's there recorded, it's archived. I was huge on Mac Jones before the 2020 season. And granted, if it was a COVID year and the consistency with the fans and all that kind of stuff, many fans, no fans, whatever, this man had one of the best complete QBRs out of like anybody for a quarterback in college. Better than Joe Burrow in 10 games. Joe Burrow had to do it in 14 games. So I was big on Mac Jones. I'm still big on Mac Jones. I think he just kind of got shafted because you could see the transition that the New England Patriots were going through. Now that I think they have a better quarterback in Drake May. But I just think that maybe he lost his confidence or maybe he got broken too early and maybe he's not going to be the same guy. Look at Didier Fuentes for the Braves, 20 years old. And as much as Mark Bowman wants to shit on him and make it light of him being young and all these things and trying to be a comedian on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, the guy's 20 years old. He's going to figure it out. But you don't throw him out there in the big leagues at 20 years old and expect that he's going to do something. That's like the trash pandas throwing out Denzer Guzman, who's 20 or 21 now, and him going out there and falling on his face and it not working. So we shall see. But to sit here and be like, oh, I didn't mean any of that, blah, 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 I didn't mean no disrespect. Yes, you did. You wouldn't have said what you said if you didn't mean disrespect, because it was disrespect. And first of all, your ass would never have been recruited by Nick Saban in the first place. Cade Klubnik, Clemson, Garrett Nussmeier, LSU, Drew Alar from Penn State. Interested to see what these boys do. You're right. I hope Klubnik comes out of nowhere and does a whole bunch of things. So it'll shut the hell up of these stupid-ass Florida State fans. Garrett Nussmeier is supposed to be really good. Garrett Nussmeier is supposed to have a step up this year for LSU. This is supposed to be one of LSU's best teams under Brian Kelly that he's ever had, including Notre Dame. Drew Hillar, it's Penn State. I'm never confident in Penn State. They get real good, they feel themselves, and then they lose to a Michigan State or a Purdue. Or, the hell, they go play Ohio State or Michigan and flop on their face and lose. Yeah. Because, I mean, the ACC as a whole, like, yeah, it should be better. You've got two teams. SMU made the college football playoff. Granted, as many teams as they allowed in there. Clemson made it, right? And SMU. SMU, if you want to say what you want to say, didn't belong there. Indiana didn't belong there. Speaking of Indiana, you know, their head coach talking about they took the SEC model, but yet they're playing Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and some bum at the beginning of the year. But yeah, the SEC has a real bad scheduling with cupcakes. Right. You don't even play Ohio State this year, Indiana, so shut your mouth. So I digress about that whole situation. But I would love to see what some of these... Yeah, I would like to see Clemson. I like Dabo. Dabo was supposed to be after Nick Saban, right? Like, he was supposed to be maybe possibly the next head coach of the Crimson Tide. Hell, he could be the next head coach of the Crimson Tide if the Kalen DeBoer situation doesn't work out. But Kalen DeBoer, outside of Wade, has had the best friggin' first year out of any Alabama head coach. Even better than Saban, who went 6-7. So, say what you want. Like Tommy Castellanos. Keep talking trash. Keep talking out the side of your mouth. You know that song that they play at LSU and many other colleges? It's a song called Quit Talking Out of the Side of Your Mouth. And that's what this dude's doing, really talking out of his ass. And then want to act like, oh, I want to backtrack on what I said. I didn't mean no disrespect, but I meant disrespect. Okay. Okay, buddy. We shall see. On this day in history. All right. In 636, Arabs gained control of most of the region of Palestine from the Byzantine Empire. 1215, Frederick II is crowned king of the Romans, king of the Germans in Aachen. Pope expels Jews in 1253. Jews are expelled from Vienna, France, by order of Pope Innocent IV. Battle of Gavere. 1453, Philip the Good defeats the Ghent Rebellion. Peace of Nuremberg in 1532. Emperor Charles V and the Shamal Kadiq League signed Peace of Nuremberg. 1572, William I of Orange. Troops occupy Roermond from the Spanish. Francis Drake departs San Francisco in 1579. Francis Drake departs San Francisco to cross the Pacific Ocean. (1632), 300 colonists bound for New France depart from Dieppe, France. 1664, 4 British ships arrive in Boston to drive the Dutch out of New York. In 1726, Franklin returns to Philadelphia. Got to start quoting Nick Sirianni. Yeah. What do I need to say by him? Final Jacobite rebellion in 1745. Charles Edward Stuart, the young pretender of Bonnie Prince Charlie, lands at Eriskay Island in the Hebrides, beginning the final Jacobite rebellion. France to supply U.S. Revolution in 1777. King Louis XVI of France and his foreign minister clandestinely agree to supply the United States with munitions during the American Revolution. Casimir Pulaski volunteers, 1777. Polish military leader Casimir Pulaski arrives in Marblehead, Massachusetts to volunteer in the Continental Army Cavalry. The Prussians conquer Mainz in 1793. In 1794, Alexander de Beauharnais, the first husband of Josephine de Beauharnais, is executed for treason during the Reign of Terror. Napoleon conquers Alexandria in 1798. In 1829, the first U.S. typographer. Is that topographer? First U.S. topographer in 1829. William Austin Burt patents America's first typewriter, the typographer. I was about to say typographer again. In 1834, HMS Beagle anchors in the Bay of Valparaiso in Chile. The Union Act passed by British Parliament, uniting Upper and Lower Canada in 1840. Let's see here. In 1848, the Battle of Custoza during the Italian War of Independence starts. In 1862, President Lincoln names Army of the Potomac General Henry Halleck as U.S. Army General-in-Chief. In 1863, Alexandra Park opens in North London, England. In 1866, the Cincinnati Baseball Club Red Stockings forms. In 1868, the All England Tennis Club is founded as of All England Croquet Club in 1877. I want to take this and put this up on Twitter. I know I didn't get the one, but whatever. In 1870, Emperor Napoleon III appoints Empress Eugene de Montijo as regent of France. The real McCoy in 1872, African-American inventor Elijah McCoy is granted a patent for lubricators for steam engines. Sorry, I can't even read. Let's keep going. Anything good right here? Anything we need to bring up? Not really. Lou Gehrig's first Grand Slam in 1925 hits his first of 23 career Grand Slams. Advance on Stalingrad in 1942. Adolf Hitler's direct number 45 order for army to advance on Stalingrad. 1942, German troops conquer Rostau. 1942, World War II, Operation Edelweiss. A German plan to gain control over the Caucasus begins. In 1943, the U.S. 45th Infantry Division occupies the north coast of Termini, Sicily. And let's see, 1944, Chicago Cubs Bill Nicholson hits 4 home runs in a doubleheader. 1944, Soviet Army marches into Lublin, Poland. 1944, U.S. forces invade Japanese-held Tinian in World War II. In 1944, U.S. troops occupy Pisa, Italy. Head of the Vichy regime goes on trial. 1945, Marshal Philippe Pétain, leader of the French Vichy collaborationists regime during World War II, goes on trial. Nixon visits the USSR in 1959. About to sneeze. Strangers in the Night. 1966, Frank Sinatra's album. I knew that was going to happen. Stranger in the Night hits number 1 on the U.S. charts and wins a Grammy for Record of the Year and Best Male Vocal Performance. Let's see here. Reggie Jackson homers in 6 consecutive games by Baltimore Orioles' Reggie Jackson in 1976. Steve Carlton becomes the 78th pitcher to win 200 games. And they just talked about that today. Like, the most active win streak is like 200 and something, 230 or 260 something games by Verlander. Charlie Morton has like the 3rd most with like just right at like 200. And we probably won't ever have a 300 game winner like ever again, because guys are getting taken out in the 5th inning, or guys won't go till the 6th inning. Guys are supposed to be throwing as hard as they're supposed to be throwing and asked to be throwing hard as they're supposed to be throwing, and don't even make it into there. The fact that Verlander and Strider went so many pitches and it was only the 5th inning it just speaks volume on what the MLB has turned into. George Brett in 1979 of the Kansas City Royals achieves his 1,000th career hit in the Major League Baseball. Also, congratulations to Rich Hill, who made his start at 45 yesterday. Still wasn't the oldest between 2 pitchers, though. I heard this on the Braves broadcast. The oldest pitching matchup between pitchers was Phil Niekro was 48, and Don Sutton was like 45. So we're not there yet. But we could get the second oldest if Rich Hill and Charlie Morton go up against each other. Let's see here. Springsteen on tour in 1992. Don Mattingly becomes the 6th New York Yankee to get 2,000 hits in 1994. Getting a little tired. British Golf Open in 2000. Tiger Woods beats Thomas Bjorn and Ernie Els by 8 shots to win his first Open title and becomes the youngest player at 24 to win all 4 major titles. One Direction was formed in 2010. Bill Cosby petition rejected in 2015. Boris Johnson Prime Minister in 2019. 9/11 Responders Bill. U.S. Senate passes a bill championed by comedian Jon Stewart to ensure 9/11 First Responders Fund never runs out of money in 2019, which is an amazing thing. It never should. Trump threatens to send feds to U.S. cities in 2020. Let's look at birthdays and we'll get out of here. Let's see if we know any birthdays. It's already looking like a no. I don't even know who that is. I thought I was about to sneeze again. I had to turn down my mic. I have no fucking clue who that is. Emperor of Ethiopia in 1930 to 1974. He died in 1975. He was born today in 1930. Anthony Kennedy, American jurist in 1936. He's 89. Don Drysdale, he was born in 1936 and died in 1999 or 1993. I'm sorry. Hall of Fame pitcher, World Series 1959, 63, 65. 9-time MLB All-Star, Cy Young Award Cy Young Award in 1962. He was with Brooklyn/LA Dodgers. He was born in Los Angeles. Graham Gooch. He's an English cricketer. He's 72. He was born in 1953. I don't know who that other person is. Woody Harrelson is 64 today, 1961. Cheers. Natural Born Killers. Anger Management. Slash, the English-American rock guitarist and songwriter, Guns N' Roses' Sweet Child of Mine, born in Stoke-on-Trent, England in 1965. He's 60 today. Philip Seymour Hoffman, he died in 2014. He was born in 1967, American actor. Capote and Moneyball. Also, what was that one with Ben Stiller? What was that movie called that he was in? The one where Ben Stiller's like a germ freak. I can't remember. Long Came Polly. There we go. Got it before anyone could tell me. Alison Krauss, 54, American bluegrass singer and fiddler, 1971. She was born in Decatur, Illinois. Monica Lewinsky, 52. She's an American White House intern. Improper relationship with Bill Clinton. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. She was born in 1973. I don't know who that is. Daniel Radcliffe. He's 36. We're the same age. He was born in 1989. Harry Potter, and of course he's Harry Potter in all the Harry Potter movies. And anyone? DeAndre Ayton, Bohemian basketball center. He was born in 1998. Anybody else? Nope, we're good. All right. So I think we covered everything that we were going to talk about. Let me see if there was anything else that I could bring up, anything that was in the latest world or whatever. We'll try to give you some updates on the training camp for the Atlanta Falcons as we're really getting ready for really getting ready for football season. We're already done with baseball season. The Braves are technically dead to me. They're 44-56 now. They're awful. Like, it just makes me mad. There's nothing else on right now, so we're just really getting ready for football. We got like 7 more weeks for NFL, really 6 more weeks for college. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to try to go to quite a few Auburn games this year, depending on scheduling and everything like that, because I'll have my Saturdays open. So I'm definitely going to want to be able to go to those. I'm going to try to go to the Iron Bowl as well as this year as well, because it's at Auburn, so I shouldn't have an issue of getting a credential to that game. But remember, if you want to subscribe on Twitch, you can do that, $5.99 a month, or you can just send that $6 to Coach Grizzle at Cash App, $ Coach Grizzle, or Venmo at Mass Braves. Leave a little comment on there what you're putting it towards. If you want to put it towards a great donation, like the Greater Humane Society, you could, they got some pretty special shirts and stuff like that too. Maybe we could work out something and we could send you something. Or we could do something where, you want to say, hey, I want to donate to this, put this money to this in a side pot, put that towards the dogs and the kitties of the Greater Humane Society in my area. Or if you want to donate to the End to Walk Alzheimer's as well, because we know that we either have a relative that's dealt with it, we know somebody that's dealt with it, or someone that has dealt with it, or you just want to help. There's all different types of ways to help. And those are 2 things that are huge for me, and I appreciate those as well. I appreciate the people that came out today and supported the stream. We weren't going to try to go a full 2 hours, and we're actually cutting that a little short today, so thank goodness, so you don't have to sit there and watch that forever. But remember, recap the show. Like and subscribe on YouTube so you can figure out when we go live, and you can go watch it on your big screen. And it can be no different than any other podcast, any other sports show out there. You can watch it on the big screen like it's big time, because we're trying to make it seem like it's big time. So thank you to Pollock. Thank you to HG Engineering. Thank you to Harkness. Thank you to Haley. Thank you to Steele. Thank you to Yorkie. Everyone that came out today. We had quite a few chatters today. Atomic Jim, all the ones that were out here today, thank you so much for being constant supporting the channel. We got to finish up, do some stuff around the house, take the bird on a walk. I mean, look at that cuteness. She's like, Dad, hurry up. I mean, look at her. She's just staring at me the entire time, even when you talk about her. She's just special like that. So we greatly appreciate you. Remember to follow us on all the social media platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Straight Flexin', Facebooks, all those places. You can find the Coach Grizzle Show. You can find the Total Chat Sports Podcast or Coach Grizzle at any of those places. Thank you once again. I'm out of here. Peace.
I'm handsome, I'm fast, I'm pretty, and can't possibly be beat.
High fly ball into right field. She is gone.
They might be going to call George Brett out.
Well, he's out.
Yes, sir.
Brett is out. Look at this. Brett is out.
He's steaming mad.
He is out.
Swung, fly ball deep left center. Grissom on the run. Yes! The Atlanta Braves have given you a championship.
Auburn going after it. Here's a good snap. It is blocked. It is blocked. It's caught on the run. It's caught on the run. He's going to score. David Wagner has scored. And Auburn is tied the game.
It's good! It's good! It's good! It's good! It's good! It's good! Van Tippen has won the ball game. Alabama has beaten Auburn!
I'd like for the people to remember me as being a winner, because I ain't never been nothing but a winner.